So I hope you'll take the share, come back. You can learn more at SteadyMoon.com. This week's newsletter is basically what we talked about today. Um, and there's probably things in the newsletter that I didn't say, and there's things I said here today that aren't in the newsletter. So do share it. And with that, Chag Sameach, and Jehovah bless you and keep you and lead you into all of His Torah. His Torah. Shalom.
Okay, so anyhow, I just finished listening to the Shavuot Pentecost messages that were given on Sunday at Sighted Moon, Joseph Dumond's YouTube channel. And I do want to share that with you. Those of you who are new to this movement, who are not familiar with the Sighted Moon calendar, the biblically prescribed Sighted Moon calendar, as well as the Jubilee cycles and sabbatical years that he teaches. He's the expert in those areas. So I wanted to start off with what they spoke about in the afternoon session. Before I forget, and I most likely will, I'm going to just say a heartfelt thank you to Joseph Dumond for all the work he's done in this movement, because truth be told, well, it wasn't him that brought me to the Sighted Moon movement. It was actually a letter by an individual, Henderson, in Church of God, who wrote a paper about whether we go by the biblical calendar or the Hillel 2 calendar. So that was just my introduction to that. But it was really Joseph who built on that. He continues preaching on the Sighted Moon, on the sabbatical years, on the Jubilee years. So without what he's done and his ministry, I wouldn't be where I am, to be honest. Yeah, I don't think I would be. The Church of God was a good foundation in terms of teaching that the law is not done away with, that Christians should be keeping the holy days. I mean, first of all, the Sabbath day, the Ten Commandments, the food laws, and yeah, the holy days, and in some ways tithing, which I spoke about earlier today, although not in the way that the Church of God teaches it, like that they're the Levites, which a lot of churches and organizations do preach that they are the Levites spiritually or whatnot, and it's just not true. It's intellectually dishonest. So, yeah, I do want to say a really heartfelt thank you. I guess I'll do that. Thank you very much, Joseph. I mean, we're gonna have to continue teaching this, and this is in my heart. The new moon calendar, the sabbatical years, the jubilees, all those are part of the law. We cannot ignore it. It cannot be hidden and just not taught. It must be taught. I'm not the expert in these things, but if someone would ask me, is the new moon, is that based on sighted moon or is it based on Hillel 2? I'm going to say sighted moon 100 times out of 100. If they ask me, what about this Shemitah, the sabbatical year? Am I supposed to keep that every seventh year? And going back to, where Joseph actually traced when it was in history and where it is now, because I believe the next one is 2023, if I'm not mistaken. So are you supposed to keep that? And how do you keep it? And I'll say, yeah, of course you're supposed to keep it. Is it not in the Bible? It's not just the weekly Sabbath. It's talking about the annual Sabbaths too. So yeah, you should keep it. And if you have land, then you don't grow anything on that time. And if you're eating produce, then we should do our best to not eat those things that are grown during that year. So it should be things that are previous to that. So you're not going to get anything from 2023 because those things should not be eaten because they're not resting their land. They're breaking the law, these eternal laws. And in terms of the the jubilees, yeah, I mean the 50th year, that's the year of release, so we should uh, not make people pay their debts. I mean, maybe you should before that happens, so they wouldn't be exempt from it. But if for whatever reason they cannot, then yeah, you would have to release people from whatever they owe you. But that's, I mean, these are scriptural, spiritual principles, and they're laws of Yah, of our Father, that He's commanded us to keep. So I'm going to now talk about what I've learned today, not just from the message I heard in the afternoon, but just inspiration that came to me. So first of all, I just wanted to say I have great news for my channel. Essentially, in a nutshell, I don't have to ask for money for whatever I'm doing in terms of the New Testament part of things. The only kind of financial assistance I would ask is when I do a book or a PDF to compile all the information I've been able to gather. I would charge a little bit for that just because it takes a lot of time and energy and effort to compile those. So I would appreciate either monetary donation, or maybe I would put a price on it. I'm not sure at this point, but that's the only thing I would probably charge for. I mean, my heart is leaning toward just giving it for free and just giving people an option to give a donation, but we'll see where that goes. So I don't need any money for a camera. Anyway, I'll just let it up to people to give whatever is in their heart to give to me, whatever they are moved to give. Okay, I'm going to talk about charging interest to brothers and sisters in the faith. Uh, Something that stands out in the Torah, in the law of Yah, is for brothers and sisters in the faith not to charge each other interest, or not to make merchandise off our brothers and sisters in the faith. It is not, I don't believe it is in the character for Yah and for His law for us to take advantage of those in the faith, whether it's physical brothers, like in our own family, like blood brothers and sisters, or the spiritual ones, that we would profit off them like they are, you know, a money making scheme. No, I don't think that's in the character for us. So that's why I am leaning towards, I don't want to make a lot of money off of it. Yeah, I should make a little bit uh, just to be able to provide for myself and continue doing this work and to encourage me, but not to be filthy rich or anything like that. That's it's not about making profit. It's not a profit driven enterprise or corporation. It's nothing like that. It should be like the Apostle Paul, where people give as they're moved to give according to the needs that one, in terms of what are my necessities of living. I'm not trying to, oh, I need to afford this Tesla. Like, what? Why would you need a Tesla? Why do you need the best of everything? No, you live off simple means, what you need, not extravagant kind of living. And secondly, I want to talk about Shavuot. A lot of people focus on the Old Testament rather than the New. To be fair, Sighted Moon focused on both. They focused on past and uh, past, but I mean past as in ancient Israel, and then more recent with the day of Pentecost in the book of Acts. So the giving of the law, people associate this day, or the day that just passed now, Shavuot, Pentecost, with the giving of the law on Mount Sinai, which I believe when that was given to physical Israel, the nation of Israel, this was the first piece of the puzzle that was required to give to mankind and all of mankind. Although it was given to Israel first, they were given that special honor. However, the giving of the Spirit, of Yah's Holy Spirit, His set apart Spirit, His Ruach HaKodesh in the Hebrew, the Parakletos in Greek, the giving of this Spirit, His Spirit on Pentecost, on Shavuot, is the spiritual part of this, of Pentecost. Obviously, it's giving the Spirit, but I mean, it's the second piece of the puzzle that is required. It is a mandatory piece of the puzzle for mankind to keep the law successfully. But which one is more necessary? Is it just keeping the law physically, or is it keeping the law spiritually? Well, I would argue to you that keeping the spirit of the law is more important, because if we have the Torah or rules and regulations without the spirit of the law, then we would be going by the letter of the law. This going by the letter of the law is much like what the Pharisees did. They're not applying righteous judgment, which is judging uh, from the heart, using mercy, faith, and justice, but they are actually judging according to the outward appearance, according to the letter, uh, and actually breaking bigger laws, whereas they were really nitpicking on smaller, minor laws. They were not prioritizing the greater matters of the law, but instead were nitpicking on smaller things that were not as important, although they were important, but not as important, and they made void the law, especially when it came to, for example, honoring your mother and father. They just completely threw that out the window when it came to tithing and offerings to the temple. So we need to be more like King Solomon, where he was given a spirit of wisdom to not only apply the law, but to judge according to the law uh, the hard matters, such as with the two women who were claiming, the baby is theirs. He didn't judge outwardly to say, okay, which woman is more beautiful, or which woman has more of a resemblance to the baby, or let's do a DNA test or something like that. No, he wanted to see the heart of the matter, who in their heart, how can you discern someone's heart? How can you read someone's heart without actually being Yah? Well, he had the spirit of wisdom, and that came from Yah. And that spirit told him to command that the baby be divided, be executed, and that would bring out what's in the heart of that, the real mother. So he was able to discern who was the real mother, and that was definitely Yah who inspired him. That was the set apart spirit. So he judged by not the letter of the law, but by the spirit of the law, by the spirit that guided him more, to be more precise. So doing the law, trying to keep the law, or I should say the spirit, having the spirit of Yah, but not having his Torah is sufficient. It would be enough. Why I say that is because the spirit, the set apart spirit of our Father of Yah, is above the law. It's above the law because it correctly applies and is driven by mercy, by love, and by faith, by justice. And the law, the Torah, Yah's commandments, his laws, are merely an expression of his spirit. But the law can only be correctly applied with the set apart spirit of Yah guiding somebody. So I don't want to make this video too long. That's all I have to say about that. I think there's one other thing that I wanted to mention, which I didn't get the time to look up, so I'm going to look that up right now and wrap up the video. So let me just pause this recording. So I'm reading from 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 3. And in the traditional, what we traditionally read is that people are making merchandise of brethren. But in this translation called the Source Translation, the Source New Testament by Dr. Neeland, she translates this verse as, through their greedy, grasping behavior, they will exploit you with fabrications. Their judgment has been a long time coming, and their destruction is not sleeping. So there's talking about people who teach people destructive philosophies They even disown the master, meaning the anointed one, Joshua, who bought them with his own life. So we have to, I have to make sure that my motivation is not greed. It's not trying to exploit people. We recall in the Torah, in the Old Testament or the Hebrew scriptures, or the 5 books of Moses, where Yah commands the children of Israel not to sell their brother into slavery. To do so would be met with a consequence of the death penalty. You're not supposed to do that, period. People are supposed to, uh, if they choose to be a servant, they shall do so voluntarily, and there should be an agreement as to how long this will go for, and they will not be abused. There was no tolerance for abuse of your servant, especially those who are your brothers physically and spiritually. So it's not characteristic. It is uncharacteristic of Yah and his Torah and his law and of us to do this way, to behave this way, and take advantage of people and try to make this ministry, to make this work of Yah to be a profiteering enterprise. So that's not what it's supposed to be. Um, yeah, it could provide you to be able to provide for your needs in a way, but nothing more than necessities. I don't think you should a person who's preaching should become a elite or become filthy rich kind of thing, like we see a lot today with a lot of the mega churches. So no, we should live in humble means and live simply. And minimalism, I think, is a very good movement. But yeah, so in terms of me thinking of charging people for this work, again, it's all going to be free in terms of the videos that I'm producing and posting on YouTube. I'm not charging for any of that. And initially, in the last video, I was thinking I might need to charge for some equipment, but now the good news is Yah's made it possible, has opened up a door for me to not have to charge, period, for any of this work in terms of videos. But again, if I'm going to publish not a hard copy book, but maybe just one for my own, maybe I like to own a hard copy of my own. But in terms of the digital kind of PDF format that people can download, I might have to put a price on that just because it takes a lot of time and effort and resources to do that. But again, it should be a reasonable amount. I'm not sure what that would be right now, but I'll have to meditate and really consider what that is worth and how much is a price that is not exploiting people. What is a reasonable price for what would amount to my life's work in terms of this ministry? Because after this, I really don't know. I mean, after I'm finished from doing Genesis to Revelation, including the Apocrypha, I would be pretty good to say, my life has been full and I've done my purpose so I can be taken away from this earth. And, my life had meaning, and Yah gave me a very big, gave me such an honorable part to play in all of this. So I have no complaints. So you know what? You can take my life. maybe that's maybe that's what my life was for. So yeah, I don't know what else to do after this. So for me to do a book, uh, a formal kind of text version of this in a PDF format or some kind of other format where people can go to it and not have to go through thousands of hours of videos just to find the biggest differences, which I think will take people a lot of time, and it might be too cumbersome. I understand. I've put out a lot of content already on uh, numbers, and I can see where this is going. But for me to do something where, okay, let's sum up Genesis, all of Genesis, into one chapter and just put the big ones together and maybe do a teaching on that, perhaps. I don't know, we'll see. But I'm not really looking to do teachings. I'm more just putting up the biggest differences, and I don't know, we'll see where it goes from there. If it organically moves to me sort of adding a bit of why that is, or why this is a dangerous difference, perhaps I will expound on that and expand on it and elaborate on it. But we'll see where it goes. I will have to charge a bit. I'm not sure how much. I'm not leaning towards $100. I think it's way too much. Uh, but I just want to offer it in one volume. I don't want to do like, I don't want to milk people. I don't think that's the right way to go about things. Just to put one volume, Genesis to Revelation, including the Apocrypha. I think I'll do one volume. That's it. Just unless I do multiple volumes, I will do so in a more reasonable way. So, for example, let's say I do the first 5 books of Moses, and I'm offering everything start to finish, let's say for $70, hypothetically. So then you would divide each kind of section according to the $70 price tag. So because the Septuagint is at least 70% of all of Scripture, including the Apocrypha, it's about 70% or so. I would probably, I don't know, depending on the amount of work that goes into it. It's a tough one because there's a lot of work that goes into reading all of this in the Source New Testament. There's so much here, it's very rich. But I'm leaning towards 70% of the 70, which is, I don't even know what that is. But anyhow, 70% of 70 would probably be the price for, excuse me, for the Septuagint or Septuagint. And the New Testament would be the remaining amount, whatever that number is. But I think that's what I'm leaning towards. 70 is probably the price I would offer for that in terms of a downloadable thing. But you know what? If it's not reasonable, if for whatever reason it is not a reasonable amount, I will have to lower it to a more reasonable amount. Perhaps it's $40. I don't know. But 70 is what I'm leaning towards at this time. Uh, if not that, if I'm not setting a price, then it would just be to offer it free of charge and give people the option to donate whatever their heart leads them to donate. Because the thing is, it does take time, it does take a lot of effort, resources to do this work. So it is valuable because of the work and effort and all the sacrifice that I've had to do to compile such a ambitious project. So that's why I feel $70 for pretty much my life's work is reasonable. But whatever your opinion is, please share. If you think it should be, whatever price for somebody's life's work to be compiled into a volume where you can see all the biggest differences that are not minor by any stretch, but very important to understanding why these differences can be catastrophic and makes all the difference in terms of understanding Yah and His law. I mean, if I was not me, someone else, and I'm listening to this right now, and I hear somebody saying I'm going to charge $70, my first instinct is, yeah, that's a little too much. But if I heard 49, maybe that's more reasonable. So maybe probably 49 sounds right. 49 seems like a right number to me. 49 is not too bad, to be honest. It's not too cheap, but it's not too expensive either. So $49 for my life's work and call it a day. I don't know. We'll see. And then in terms of a physical copy, that's just for myself. If there is demand for that, then people can also request that. I'm not sure how to even go about that. I might have to do a lot of research in terms of doing that. And I prefer, again, hardcover. I don't like soft cover. Hardcover lasts a lot longer. A lot of my books are hardcover, so I will have to do a lot of editing beforehand before I would even consider doing a hardcover book. But that's the goal, is to finish this work in its digital format. And if Yah provides a way for me to do both a hardcover, I should say a hardcover physical form that I can actually hold in my hands and read it, and just smell it and everything, that would be very beautiful. It would be very thankful for that. I'm already thankful, but I mean, it would be very special to me, very even more precious. So, and yeah, so that's all I have to say for today. It's been a beautiful day. I've had some trials recently, um, but I could have gone either way. I could have embraced a dark spirit in terms of carnality, or I could have embraced the Ruach, the set apart spirit, and continue doing this work. So that's where I was the last couple of days. And I realized, you know what? This was a trial, a timely trial. Essentially, what happened to me is like if you lost your family photo albums and a lot of inspiration in terms of music, a lot of things that I've collected over the last 10 years in terms of music and photo albums. That it's my phone. I lost my phone essentially, and I was devastated because a lot of my life was on that phone for the last 10 years, and now it's all gone. So I realized life is not in your past. Yes, our history is really in the scriptures in terms of man and our history, but we must look at now, the present, and the great, glorious future that we have. Because even when I die, my life is expired. Um, I can't take any of those things with me, physically or digitally. It's what I remember in my heart. It's the kind of person I turn out to be, and the way I treat people, the way I love myself, the way I love Elohim, the way I love my fellow human beings. So, you know, someone, people are very, they're not Torah observant. They do steal. They have no mercy. That's the kind of life, and that's the life people lead who are not guided by the set apart spirit. This is the world we live in that does not regard any decency or integrity. They will cut your throat without thinking. They'll steal an old phone with a big crack in it that, our modern phones, I think they're an iPhone 12 by now, and that was like an iPhone 5 or 6. So someone was that desperate to steal it and not give it back, not return it. So, you know what? May justice be upon them, whatever that justice is. It's up to the Father to judge them. I would have preferred to have found my phone and to have it returned, but that's just doesn't look like that's in the cards for me. So I just have to focus on what my purpose is, because my purpose is not that phone. It's not to keep looking at pictures and videos and reminisce and have all this music that, not music as in music I downloaded, it's music that I've actually composed. So these are songs that I've written. And being an artist, that it's like sacrificing your babies, so to speak. So that was tough for me, to let go of that. But knowing that those things do not define me, Yah always inspires me, and that inspiration comes from the Father, comes from the Spirit, it comes from the gifts He's given me. And whether I lose, it's like a person who's rich who loses all their money. They're not anxious or afraid or downtrodden, because they know they can start again. That money didn't or whatever they produce, they know they can do it again. It's really in them. It's a gift from God, and Yah will give them and restore them again. So that's the way I feel right now. He'll restore me again. He'll bring me back and give me even more than what I had before, and greater gifts and greater memories and greater musical pieces. And even greater than all those things is the purpose He's given to me, a renewed purpose. He's given me a purpose for life. He gave that to me 20 something years ago, about 21 years ago, that I know my purpose for being born, my ultimate purpose after I die. And now He's given me a purpose as I'm alive right now, not to just wait on it, not to just, sit on my thumbs and just sit on my hands and just wait until the Armageddon or wait till the end of the age. No, I have a purpose to do right now. And that's what I'm doing on this channel, is to preach this good news, to preach the truth of the word of Yah, these eternal words which will never pass away. That's what the Anointed One said, Joshua. He said, heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. And I include that to mean the Septuagint because he was the one who spoke to Moses. So this is what's greater than the word of Yah? What is in all this planet? Is even the planet worth more? I would say no. Is the heaven worth more? I'd say no, because he said both will pass away, but my words will never pass away. So this is the most important thing in existence besides the Father and the Son, because those words came from them. It's their expression of their love to us, their wisdom, their their mercy, their justice, their faith, their kindness. They're so good. Their expression of their joy, what makes them happy, what is their pleasure, what is their will, their mission, their purpose for us. So that's all I have to say about about things as they stand in this year, this pagan year of 2021. I forgot the sacred year. I think it's the 5057. I'm not sure right now, but anyhow, um, yeah, this is a great honor and a privilege to do this. I know where I was. I was a lost teenager, wanting to feel like I belonged to something. I think a lot of human beings yearn to feel love and acceptance and to have a feeling of belonging and to feel appreciated. And with this purpose now, I get all of those. I get the love from Yah. I feel the acceptance from Yah. I feel that appreciation. This is the most special thing that anyone can be a part of. But I'm only one person. Again, I could use a lot of help with this. If Yah moves somebody else in this movement, or not even this movement, inspires someone else to say, hey, I saw your channel. I want to help out. Let me do the Psalms. And I'll go, please be my guest. I'm not going to double check you. You just do it. You give me what you get. And, we can divide this work. And we can even split the split the price of, whatever money is made from the effort I'm doing in terms of compiling all these things, according to the work that you put in. So I have no qualms about that. Actually, I need a lot of help for this. I'm only one person. As the scripture says that the the harvest is much, it's abundant, but the laborers are few. So we really need a lot of people to help out in this ministry of the kingdom of Elohim, of Yah. There's so many angles to it. Joseph is doing one part with the sighted moon calendar, with the sabbatical years, jubilees, and other things he does teach. For me, my focus seems to be the Septuagint and the New Testament as well, just looking at the truth on both of those aspects. We'll see how that goes, but so far it's been very encouraging and also discouraging, but overall very encouraging. I'm very thankful for all the support this channel gets. I did not dream in my wildest dreams that I would get the number of views that I've gotten so far, over 160,000 if I'm not mistaken, and the number of subscribers that I've gotten, which is close to 300, which is very encouraging as well. I didn't think it would grow that much, but Yah is the one that provides the growth, and I'm simply throwing the seeds out there and seeing what will stick, what will take root. So again, it's such a privilege, such an honor to share this to all the planet, people who have access to YouTube, that understand English, to be able to speak English, to be able to be alive at this point of time where we are clearly in the end of the age, leading up to the return of Yeshua, leading up to the return of Yeshua HaMashiach, the anointed one, Joshua, the son of Elohim, who is Elohim, and who is the Lamb who gave his life so that we could all live. It was the resurrection. He's the way, and he showed us the way to live. So that's all I have for you on at this end of Shavuot, of Pentecost. It is already past sunset, but it's been such an honor and a privilege to do this. One of my favorite holy days is Yom Kippur, Day of Atonement. However, going back to Pentecost, the very first Pentecost that I had the opportunity to keep, I missed. And I'll never forget how sad I was. 2000, year 2000, 2001, I we kept our first Passover, Feast of Unleavened Bread, and I asked my family, "Oh, when is Pentecost again?" And they said, "Oh, you missed it." It's like, how did I miss it? Because I was away on some kind of trip. I believe it was a high school trip. We went to the cottage in Muskoka, somewhere like that, or Etobicoke, not Etobicoke. It was either Muskoka or some kind of Algonquin Park, something like that, in a cottage. And when I came back, I returned because it was over the weekend. My parents said, "Oh, we kept Pentecost," and I just froze and I said, I didn't obey. It's not just that I didn't obey. I wanted with all my heart to keep that holy day, a real day that was anointed, that was chosen by the creator of the universe, that this is my holy day. And when I made a covenant in my mind and my heart that I would obey him, I would rather die than not keep his feast days and his Sabbaths. That if I had an option to keep or not to keep it, it would always be to keep it, and the other option would be death. It would be, I will keep these feasts or I'll die trying. So when I found out I missed it, I was devastated. I felt like I missed out on life, like the real life. And I was shortchanged big time. But now it looks like the tables have turned in a lot of ways, because now it seems like I'm the only person on this planet keeping this feast day, this specific one of Pentecost, of Shavuot, in the way that I'm keeping it. And again, I respect everyone else who keeps it according to their understanding, whether it's with the Sighted Moon group that kept it on Sunday, just this past Sunday, or it's everyone else who are keeping it later on next month. I respect them all because Yah gives us all a different understanding. However, I challenge you to keep the Pentecost, keep Shavuot according to the Septuagint, according to the scriptures that Yeshua had in his day, and see if there's a difference. See if Yah will lead you to not just understand something, but to see, to really prove Him. Yeah, prove Him and ask Him to show you the truth. Prove His word. And you can only do that by obeying. Keep the Pentecost according to the sighted moon, whether you think it's the weekly Sabbath or you believe it's the first day of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. The morrow, the day after that, was where you start your count, or whether it's a Sabbath, keep both and see how Yah will bless you, or see if you notice anything different on both of those days. I noticed every time I keep these feast days, every year without fail, Yah manages to teach me something new, and teach me something new about myself, to teach me something new about these feast days, and their meaning becomes deeper every year and richer every year. It's like every year you read another chapter of a book and it only gets better, and the end of that book is probably the end of your life, unfortunately. But the good news is, in the kingdom, in the resurrection, when we are eternal beings, there will be no end to that chapter. We'll continually learn and grow. And that's only, we can't even imagine the pleasures, the joys that await us when we actually get to meet our Creator and our Savior, the Anointed One, the elect one, Joshua, the Messiah, the Mashiach, Yeshua. So that's all I have to tell you today. Thank you very much. If you've watched up to this point, thank you for your time. May our Father bless you and make your way prosperous, and peace and grace to you from Elohim, from God our Father, from Yah, and from Yeshua HaMashiach, from the Anointed One, Joshua. And with that, I leave you. It's the Secrets Revealed, the Holy Bible, and Pentecost just passed according to the Septuagint. So stay tuned for more presentations where I will continue with the book of Numbers this coming week. So thank you very much.